Hello everyone, VannKraken here. And while it may be true that the 2-year-strong World of Warships Legends update is not the flashiest and most exciting patch ever with regard to any completely unexpected announcements, there are 5 important things, not counting the arrival of the highly requested 155 Mogami or Suzuya to you and me, that clearly show how the April 2021 patch directly addresses key player feedback. So let's get down to whether this patch is boring, as some people described it, or if it's a complete game changer. Number 5 is just a simple bullet point in the opening section of the patch notes, but the 2-year-strong discounts offered on 30 individual ships is kind of a big deal if you care about getting more for your money in Legends. Just to clarify, this video is going to be watched by a lot of folks after this particular sale ends on April 19, 2021. But the bigger issue is it would be great if we could have more regularly occurring promotional events like this one on popular individual ships that don't always require buying a large bundle. Don't get me wrong, I'm 100% behind players supporting Legends with the purchase of in-game goods. And I've said a bunch of times that I buy annual blocks of premium time and I always get Admiralty backing for campaigns because it's such an awesome deal. However, individual ship prices in Legends have always been inflated when you compare the price of a ship in Legends to the same item on PC. Take this comparison for instance. After purchasing $40 worth of doubloons with US dollars, a Duca de Asta will set you back 10,000 doubloons or $34.77 on Legends versus only $20 on PC. Similarly, München, which isn't on sale right now, is also $8.27 more on Legends than on PC. This is the normal way pricing runs in the game shop and why I rarely buy ships at regular price. And while Sharn costs $39.20 on PC, our normal price on Legends is $52.16, a whopping $13 more. But with the 25% off, I was finally able to pick her up with what I would call a fair and comparable price, just 8 cents different. So when WG takes a fair amount of my cold hard cash and I finally get to mount my hard-earned Frosty Ice camo, it's a win-win for everyone, right? I just don't want to have to feel like a hostage for overpaying. So thank you WG for listening to the players and running this awesome sale, and let's hope we can have events like this on a regular basis. Moving on to number 4, players have voiced that map stagnation was becoming a real pain point, and WG has definitely tried to alleviate the issue in the last 2 updates. In the March patch, map rotation was enhanced so you don't pull the same map over and over. And in this April patch, we finally see the arrival of 2 new maps ported over from the PC version of the game. For the low tiers, we get Solomon Islands, a relatively simple map with just 3 larger central islands based on the actual location of the naval battles for Guadalcanal in World War II. I'm assuming that the slot is around here somewhere. The center strait between the 2 big islands sets up clashes that usually ignite within the first minute or 2 of the game. While the battle for the center of the map rages, the far corners of the big island set up some epic torpedo ambush opportunities, especially involving new players who don't yet know to give those shores a wide berth when they're trying to flank behind enemy territory. It's a playground for both new players and seal clubbers alike. And for the high tiers, we get Hotspot, which is frankly one of the maps that I like the most from the PC side of the game. Outside of some adventurous destroyers who might head middle at the beginning of the match, this battle typically gets joined on the flanks, with both sides having relatively symmetrical north-south terrain to utilize, but the east and west edges each have an entirely different flavor. On the eastern half, there's an archipelago of small islands that make great cover for destroyers and smaller cruisers, and on the west edge, a group of 3 larger islands set the stage for some early terrain sniping that generally devolves into a battle for the center waters in between them. Once the flanks have been won, the team that is ultimately successful in pushing forward usually gets crossfire opportunities behind the enemy's lines, unless both teams roll forward on opposite flanks simultaneously, which sets up a center of the map showdown for ultimate supremacy. However you wind up tackling these new environments to battle in, additional maps are always a welcome enhancement to World of Warships Legends. And we hope that new layouts, perhaps even console exclusives like tanks used to have, will keep coming. Counting down to number 3 on our list, there are 2 long-standing and legitimate player complaints about battleships on World of Warships Legends that are getting some welcome attention in this update as well, though it may not be everything the players have hoped for. German secondaries have been a focus for many players since the launch of the game, voicing that they seem lackluster as compared to their PC counterparts. I've seen many extremely detailed and persuasive posts regarding this issue, and in the April update, this will be partially addressed by giving the 105mm German battleship secondary guns the ability to penetrate 20mm armor, which will make Gneisenau, Bismarck, and Tirpitz more of a threat to destroyers that dare to close distance, especially if the battleship has enhanced secondaries through ship and commander builds or activates a consumable boost. However, the range of German secondaries still suffers in comparison to the PC, as Willis Lee can use a mini-me of Franz von Hipper's base secondary range trait as an inspiration, stretching the range of the Massachusetts' secondary batteries, for instance, to over 10 kilometers, while Tirpitz comes in the mid 7 kilometer range with a secondary build and similarly leveled commander. Referring back to my PC accounts, the range of the secondary batteries on these 2 ships is nearly identical, and it leaves the German secondaries still feeling a bit less powerful than what would be expected. On a second battleship front, nearly instantaneous spotting of some battleships has been a continuing issue since the alpha test because of the compressed spawn points that are meant to force more rapid engagements in Legends battles. It's just downright lame in my book that on certain maps you can't even execute a single turn to get in better position before you're subjected to long-range fire. Being forced into reverse bow tanking for most of a game is no way to live. So now, some of the battleships that can pretty much be spotted from space, including Japanese vessels Ashitaka, Nagato, Amagi, Yamato, and Ki, in addition to Vanguard and the Warhammer ships, will receive a somewhat conservative quote-unquote concealment system modification 1 option to adjust the spotting meta, with the possibility of more ships getting access to it in the future. The bummer is you have to spend 2 million credits to install it. So in addition to any credits you've already blown on the slightly useful target acquisition system modification 1. In this example, Yamato, with a base concealment of 16.1 kilometers, could use the new modification for a 10% reduction in detection range, in addition to using IJN-BB Commander Kondo for another 6% to get down to a more respectable 13.5 kilometer detection. This may allow you to adjust your deployment positioning without being insta-spotted, or to even consider holding fire at some point in a match to go dark and break detection and then either heal or reposition. However, simply moving the spawns back on certain maps shards is still waiting out there to be called upon as a valuable enhancement. Now for number 2, the triumphant return of Arena Mode has been announced, as was teased by WG in interaction with players on social media. As we all know, the first time around the gameplay was really great, but the steel rewards were extremely stingy, going only to the top 1% of players, who survived the 2-week marathon with the steel, but maybe at the expense of either their sanity or relationships with significant others, friends, and family members. The new Arena Mode offers the same rules as before, with 4 teams of 3 ships attempting to either capture the single center capture point or kill all their foes, and the 20% penalty for friendly fire to keep mindless torpedoes spamming out of the center cap in check has been reinstituted. Season 2 runs from April 19th to 26th and features Tier 3 ship selections from the destroyer and cruiser pools only, which should be a fun change of pace with torpedo beats to spare. The leaderboard will be tracked by ships destroyed, with surely no salt to be shaken about kill steals over the week, and the maps will be Ring, Archipelago, and New Dawn. Most importantly, steel will be rewarded for the top 3 finishing brackets, which sounds really familiar to what a lot of players asked for. And the top 1% also takes home a hefty 1,000 doubloons to boot, so really good work WG on that. Season 2 features the same basic rules and runs from May 3rd through May 10th, but you can use any ship type from Tier 3. And the leaderboard will be tracked off of total XP accumulated, just like in our first Arena Mode experience. Arena mode is awesome, especially in a division with 2 friends, so jump in and give it a try if you missed it the last time around. And at number 1, carriers have arrived in the tech tree in World of Warships Legends and changed the meta forever. Who could honestly say this patch was going to be boring? But before we get started on talking about carriers and the changes that WG made in response to player feedback, let's all take a pause and some deep cleansing breaths to calm down about the day 1 matchmaking when everyone and their grandfather wants to try out the new CVs in standard battles. It's mainly a lower tier issue right now as everyone starts grinding from the bottom of the CV tech trees up, and this too shall pass. In my final review of Airstrike, and most likely in a lot of the post-event surveys that were sent out by WG, the general feeling from players seemed like carriers were underpowered and lacked some important functionality, namely an autopilot system. So WG has moved forward and implemented a bunch of new things to address this in the 2-year-strong update. On the carrier side of the scale, planes have been given various buffs to hit points, damage, speed, and drop accuracy. The carriers have also been given a course plotting autopilot system that allows you to navigate to a specific space on the map, and new commanders King and Yamaguchi have returned, and some existing commanders like Dewey and Tanaka have had their skills buffed to apply to CVs as well. And finally, from a structural perspective, Tier 7 carriers have been added to round out the tech trees, and a 1 CV per team limit has been imposed for AI and standard battle modes. From a surface ship perspective, the option to buff your ship's anti-aircraft rating directly has been added through the choice of AA Guns Modification 2, which extends firing range by up to 20%. And the option to trade out Sonar 1 for the defensive fire consumable on cruisers will give you a temporary boost to anti-aircraft gun performance. And lastly, you can also opt for the commander skill All-Out Anti-Air, which will be a level 1 skill for all commanders in the game that buffs range and damage per second of AA. But again, it comes at the cost of trading off another skill that you might feel is of equal or more value for a given ship. The $68,000 question is how all these changes and new additions to the ships, planes, commanders, and the game itself interact with each other and balance out. I doubt that even WG knows the answer to that question already, but carriers are here to stay, and it's likely there will be some additional rounds of balancing going forward. So here's to getting a clearer picture of how things look after carrier players have made some progress up to tech trees and the matchmaking settles down. Well, these are 5 reasons I think WG has shown that they're incorporating player feedback into recent updates. And from a cruiser guy, one final and quick bonus. That's thanks to Wargaming for bringing us the option to campaign for a Mogami 155, a ship that I've personally enjoyed a lot on the PC and think you will enjoy as well. And if you'd like to find out more about the Limit Breaker campaign and the pre-war Mogami class Suzuya, click on the video link coming in the upper corner of the screen. And don't forget to join us for a live stream here on YouTube or on Twitch, or to check out our growing library of game tips, guides, and other content here on our YouTube channel. Love it or hate it, we'll see you soon in a 3v3, a 5v5, or maybe even a 9v9 match. Whatever it takes to get this new aircraft carrier meta off the water. Hey, this is VannKraken, and I am out.